Today it is all about these two guys, the micro pump from Thermarest and the tiny pump 2X from Flextail. And the reason using them instead of using your mouth to inflate your pads. The short answer to that is because you don't want your pads looking like this. Today we will go through the how and the why to use a small pump and the difference between these two. The specs, the price, the features, and the end also the most important part, the performance, and what the best choice would be for you. The micro pump or the tiny pump? Let's find out. Hi and welcome to a new episode and to the channel. And if you find any of the information during this episode interesting, please consider subscribing. The big why to use a pump or a pump sack to inflate your sleeping pads is debatable, but some say that you don't get any mold when inflating your pads manually using your mouth, and I believed them until I saw this. This is vids from a fellow hiker here in Sweden, Jonn Nilsson, who were kind enough to let me use the material. You can clearly see the mold inside the pad, and even if it is still okay to use, it isn't very nice, and in the long run, we don't know how it will influence the performance. Myself, I've been manually inflating my pads for a long time because I didn't want the added weight of a pump sack inside my backpack. And I find it okay and easily done after setting camp, even if it takes a little bit of an effort. But after seeing these clips from Jonn, well, I don't want to use my mouth to inflate my pads any longer, so I then have the choice of using a pump sack or a pump. Well, I find it to be much more of a hassle using a pump sack compared to using a pump, so I believe it is worth the added weight to bringing a pump, even if I am an ultralight hiker. Before trying them out and compare the performance of the two contenders, the micro pump from Thermarest and the tiny pump 2X from Flextail, let's look into the specs and what you get in the package. The tiny pump weighs in at 109 grams, including the small adapter for the Thermarest pads. The size is 45 mm wide, 59 mm high, and in the package you get the adapters to use for any pads and a small bag to store the pump in and the accessories, and a USB cable to charge it with. The tiny pump has a built-in 1300 mAh battery and has a capacity of 180 liters per minute. And it has a lot of features, but we will talk about that a little bit later on, together with some more interesting stuff and discount codes. But now it is time to look at the micro pump. The micro pump from Thermarest weighs in at 63 grams, batteries included. But it depends on what batteries that you buy, because the AAA batteries can be up to a 10 grams difference a pair. So if weight is of importance for you, choose your batteries carefully. The micro uses two AAA batteries and is 55 mm high, 41 mm in diameter and 55 mm wide. And in the package beside the pump you get nothing. No adapters, no batteries included. One of these pumps are full with features, the other one, well, not so much. The micro pump can be used only as a pump, but not only that, it can only be used as a pump as long as you own a Thermarest pad, because it is only compatible with a wing lock valve, and the only one using that is Thermarest. So if you have a CT Summit pad, a NEMA pad, an Expert pad, or any other pad out there, this pump is not for you. The tiny pump 2X from Flextail, on the other hand, is filled with features. First of all, you can inflate whatever pad that you have, because it comes with adapters to fit them all. Beside a pump, it also features a LED light with 40, 60 and 400 lumens output, and together with a quick suspension it can be used as a lantern inside your tent or a flashlight. It also has a magnetic base, so you can use it as a hands-free flashlight. Not very usable while camping perhaps, but a nice to have feature. Now we're talking about the most interesting thing: how many times you can inflate your pad using one charge or one set of batteries. I've been using these pumps to inflate my pad, the Thermarest Neo Air X-Therm, as many times as I can during the past week. And for you who are not familiar with this pad, this is quite a large one at 196 centimeters long, 64 centimeters wide and 6.4 centimeters thick. I didn't have very high expectations from either of the two because I haven't used them or any similar products before, so I didn't expect them to last for very long, but for short. They both exceeded my expectations in different ways. The sound of the tiny pump is quite high and about 82 decibel while used, and I was able to inflate my pad 24 times before the red light that indicates a low battery was turned on, which means less than 5% remaining of the battery. I could have probably inflated the pad once or twice more, but I chose to stop there. The time it took to inflate my pad was about 1 minute and 5 seconds to start with, and after 23 fills and before the red light turned on, about 1 minute and 20 seconds. I was very impressed, not to say amazed, by the number of fills achieved and how quick it was. The micro pump is less noisy at only 72 decibels while used, but you can also clearly see that it is a much less powerful pump and that the pad didn't get as inflated as using the tiny pump. That means that you need to use your mouth in the end to get it fully filled. The inflation time using the micro pump is much longer and about 3 minutes and 30 seconds in the beginning and about 4 minutes in the end. But the number of fills achieved was amazing. Over 35 times before I actually stopped, because it all depends on the quality of the batteries. If you, like me, bought the most expensive AAAs that you can find in the store, well then, you can expect a long lifetime and over 35 fills. But if you're buying the cheaper brands and lower quality batteries, you will get much less. All in all, both exceeded my expectations and both did what they are designed to do. On the negative side, I don't have that much, but on the tiny pump, sure, it is a bit noisy, and the small nozzles that you get for all your pads, well, they can of course get lost. For the micro, the big downside is of course that it can only be used for Thermarest pads and that it is not rechargeable. So each time you run out of batteries, you need to buy new ones, and that adds to the cost during its lifetime. And it is slow, like super slow. The price, well, the micro is expensive and costs about 500 to 600 Swedish crowns depending on where you buy it. And that is about $50 to $60, and that does not include any batteries. The Tiny Pump 2X is a bit cheaper, and on their website it retails for $39.99 at the moment, and as a viewer and subscriber to this channel you get a discount code. Just write Flextail 15 during checkout and you will get 15% off on any product, not just the Tiny Pump. So what do I recommend? Well, if you are a lucky owner of a Thermarest pad, you being able to choose either one. But if you do mind the added weight and want to go as light as possible and don't mind the long inflation times, well then the choice is easy, you go for the micro. But if you are an owner of any other pad out there, or a Thermarest pad for that matter, and you want a powerful small pump for your pad that also can double as a lantern, and on top of that also are cheaper and rechargeable, well then you go for the Tiny Pump 2X from Flextail. I will from now on add the Tiny Pump 2X and the 109 grams to my base weight, for the sole reason that I don't want my pad looking like this. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I'm so much looking forward to hearing your comments. Do you believe it is worth the added weight of adding a pump, or do you prefer a pump sack, or maybe mold in your pad? Anywho, leave a comment. But for now, this is it, and if you liked today's episode, take a look at these two recommendations on my other videos. Also do hit like, subscribe and turn on the notifications so you don't miss out on any future content. I hope to see you again next week, but for now, take care, safe hiking, and bye-bye.